Hi everyone. Today we'll talk about different types of SQL joins, especially with special reference to inner join, equi join, natural join, and self join. What are they, and how are they different from each other? And we'll see some examples also. So, inner joins is like also it's called a simple join when you join two or more tables with a join condition. So you have one table on the left and the right, and you join through a join condition and through a common column, and then you'll get the results which satisfy only those join condition. And the join condition can be anything, any condition operator, like equal to, greater than, less than, in, between, like, or any other joining condition you have in Oracle. So the equijoin or natural join, both uh, kind of do the same thing, but there's a different way of writing the SQL for equijoin and natural join. They're kind of a special case of inner join, that is subset of inner join, and they work on a very special join condition, which is equality. If it is only equal condition operator, then it's called equijoin or natural join. But the way we write the SQL statement is slightly different for equijoin and natural join, but they do the same thing. And self join is another type of or special case of inner join, where we join one table with itself. The same table is there on the left and right side of the join condition, and we use a join condition, and that could be either equal to or any other condition, greater than, less than, in between, like. And so it's a self join is when we join one table with itself. That's why it's called a self join. So let's see some examples. How do they behave, and how what is the correct syntax to write those join condition. So I'm already logged into the database. So I'm an HR user. So I've already a pre-written script. So let's look at the tables and data structure, just to understand what we're dealing with. So you have an employee table. We have employee ID, first name, salary and manager ID, department ID. Will work with mostly in those columns, and then we have a departments. We have department ID, name, manager ID, and location ID. We have 107 employees in the employee table and 27 departments. And these are the departments, and you can see there are manager ID in some of the for the department. And so we'll use this column for one of our query. So just keep an eye on that. And yeah, so that's the tables and the data that we'll be working with for our demonstration on in all the joins that we just discussed. So let's look at the SQL statement. So as you can see, I have selected few columns from employee table and department. So I'm in the from clause, I'm joining employees inner join department. This is the ANSI syntax. This is the international ANSI standard, which will work in most of the uh, enterprise database like PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQL Server. This ANSI syntax more or less work on all the database. And Oracle has its own proprietary old and non-ANSI syntax that we'll see one example at the end. But Oracle recommends to use ANSI syntax for your all your queries. Non-ANSI syntax, the old format syntax, is still available and supported for backward compatibility, but you should start using ANSI syntax. So these are all ANSI syntax from employees inner join department. So I'm joining employee table and department table, and the joining condition, I put it on the on clause, is part of the from, and from employee ID greater than d dot manager department dot manager ID. So I'm just trying to show you that we can use a greater than symbol also, not always equal to operator, and that can be called as inner join. And I'm using this condition 200 just to restrict the number of rows. And so this is one of the inner join, and this is the data. Now the next example, I'm just doing a same query, but I'm using an equal operator. I'm joining with employees and departments. So this inner join, inner is default. If I write join, then inner is the default. So if you want, you can skip that. Just if you write just join, it is inner join. So either you can write inner join or you can just write join. And so here I'm using an equal uh, operator and comparing between employee ID and the manager ID from the department table. And this is the output. And the next one is the same thing. Uh, Again, joining employees, join departments, and there's equal operator, but I'm using the same column name this time. Either department ID equal to d dot department ID, and I'm using this department ID less than 50 just to restrict the number of rows. So most of the cases when you join two tables, you will join through a common column, because normally there will be a primary key and foreign key relationship, and we always join through that foreign key, and the column name most of the cases will be the same. Some cases it could be different, but most cases it's the same. So uh, so in this case that I'm giving an example where I have a inner join where I'm joining through a equal condition, and the column names on both the tables are same. If that is the case, there is another way of writing it in ANSI syntax. Instead of on, you can do using. So that, see here, you select as in the first previous query from employees join department. There's no change in that. But instead of on clause, you can say using department ID. If you're in your join condition, if the column names are same in both the tables, you can just mention using and put the column name. No, you don't have to put uh, the schema prefix. In fact, you'll get an error if you try to use it. If you're using some column name in the using clause, and if you refer that column anywhere like where clause here, like here, or in select clause, you cannot put the schema prefix, otherwise you'll get an error. Just remember that. If department ID is used here in the using clause, if I use department, like I have used here where department ID, I don't have a prefix, schema prefix here, because if I use one schema prefix, I'll get an error. So whatever column you're using in using clause, if you use that column any other place in the query, you should not use schema prefix. So as you see, uh, if the column names are same in a join condition, you can also use using clause and just put the column name. So Oracle will find that column name in both the tables and will join with the equal operator. It works only if the condition is equality operator. It doesn't work for greater than or less than or any other operator. So there's one other way of writing uh, using clause. Now this is the inner join. What is equal join? Equal join, as I mentioned, it's like when the condition is equal operator. The example we just saw from this query using clause, or the previous one with the on clause, they're all equi join, because the the join condition is equality operator. So that's the only difference. In an inner join, the condition can be join condition, can be anything, any conditional operator. But for equi join, it is the join condition is equal operator. So you can, and if the column names are same, you can use using clause. If not, then you can use on clause. So this is what equi-join is. Now what is natural join? Natural join is same as equi-join, but there's a different way of writing it. The syntax is slightly different, but it's the same as equi-join. And you can use natural join for a very specific case where you want to join two tables with the same column names. So this is the syntax. You put the select clause, and from employees natural join department. As you can see, there is no join condition, because when you use this clause, this join keyword natural join, then Oracle automatically finds all the columns between the two tables which has the same column name and data type. Oracle automatically find those columns and use use those columns to join these tables and use a equality condition. So in this case, I have a department ID is the only column which has the same column name. So it will use that column. And think in this case we have one department ID and also we have manager ID. So it will just join on those two columns and give the output. So that's the difference between equijoin natural join. Is this natural join is again another case of equijoin, but you don't mention the column names here. Oracle automatically finds the columns which has the same name and same data type on both the tables and just join them using equality operator automatically. You don't have to write anything for that, and you have to write a keyword called natural join. So that's about natural join. And what is a self join? Self join is another special case of an inner join where you join one table with itself. For example, here we have employees emp join employees mgr. I'm just using a different and easy to understand table alias so that I can differentiate between these two tables, because the two tables the same name. So I must use an alias. In this case, I'm using descriptive, saying okay, this employee table is for employee and this employee table is for manager. So I can find the employees and their corresponding manager name. I'm using this filter just to restrict the number of rows. And just to understand this query, emp.manager id equal to mgr.employee id. So if you look at the structure of employee table, here I have employee id and manager id. So I am from first table emp.manager id and combining that with the second table with employee id, so that from the second table I can get the first name, that will be my manager name. So I can, from first table I can find employee name, and the second table I can find the corresponding manager name. The employee name, here the manager name. So that's how it works. Self join, mostly you have to find refer the same table and join with the same table to find some corresponding data. So that's about inner join, equi-join, natural join, and self join. At the end, just take a look at the um non-ANSI syntax. It is the same thing, that you don't use any join keyword, you use a comma. So from employees e comma department d, and the join condition you don't put it in the from clause or on clause, you just put it on the where clause, where e dot department id equal to d dot department id. And any other additional filters, you can use the put that filter on the and condition or where condition. So I'm just putting this filter just to restrict the number of rows. So this is the non-ANSI syntax, just for an example. And non-ANSI syntax doesn't have any special way or special case for writing equijoin or natural join. It's just one syntax. It depends on like what kind of joining condition you're using. I'm using a equal to sign here. You can use a like, or you can use a greater than or less than or between, anything you can use. The syntax remains the same. There's no difference. But in ANSI syntax, there are different ways of writing uh, different special type of queries. So that's about it. Thanks, and I'll put all these queries, SQL statements, in the description so that you can refer it for your use. And that's it for today. Thank you. Bye bye.